Hello. Welcome to another edition of
the Bears Fans Online Podcast.
Win or lose, week in and week out,
we talk about
Bear football.
Let's forget who we're playing this week and just
listen to the Bears Fans Online Podcast.
And then we'll have a good time.
Oh, are you going to wrap the fans now?
I'm going to wrap the ones that
don't listen to the podcast.
Yes, I am.
Why?
You want to ask me why? Because
it's a great show.
I wanted the Bears to be the best. I wanted the Bears to have the best
podcast.
I want them to be the
most informative.
We're going to be here all day, baby. I like this kind of party.
man, this is what it's all about. I mean, people are getting
their Chicago Bears fix.
This is a good
podcast.
Shut up.
Now it's time for the Bears Fans Online Podcast with your hosts,
the bad boys of Chicago radio,
Andy Long.
Get your mouth shut, jerk.
And Chris Blazek.
See that? That's your IQ, buddy. 0. They don't like us. I know that. They don't even like me, and I'm a nice guy.
All right, we're going to try this again. This is version 2, take 2 of the Bears Fans Online Podcast. As you can see up on the right there, we've got the Bears Fans Online webpage, bearsfansonline.com, joining the conversation. And we'd be glad to have you join the message board and engage. We've got a Discord link there at the top of the page. Feel free to jump in on that and join the conversation, especially during the games. The conversation during the games is fucking crazy. But I'm Andy, and I'm joined here by Chris. Chris, how you doing tonight, man?
Oh, living the dream. I can't believe we're going live. It's this is awesome. So I'm pumped up. We got a little bit less than an hour. Is that right?
Yeah. So we've got the game starts at 7:20. There you see the bottom of your screen, 7:20 Central Time. It's going to be on Fox. It'll be on NFL Network and also Amazon Prime. I think we'll also all get the game. So a great opportunity for a lot of people to check out the game, maybe if they're not able to typically see a football game from cable or from whatever package. So I did want to reveal the inactives are out. I don't know if you've caught these yet, but it looks like Deion Bush is out, Sheriff McManus, the nose tackle, Daniel McCullers. I thought he was going to finally get a chance to play, but I guess not. Riley Ridley, of course, as is tradition now, he just doesn't play. And Arlington Hambright is kind of getting a redshirt year. Inactive for the Buccaneers is Godwin, Watson, McCoy, Pearson, Griffin, Davis. Nobody else really of note, but the receivers and running backs obviously took a hit. Mike Evans is going to play tonight. But for the Bears, this is the first game for Artavis Pierce. He'll be active for this game. Mm-hmm. And I think they also promoted a linebacker from the practice squad whose name escapes me. I don't have it here presently in front of me, but he will be getting, I'm assuming he's going to be picking up where Deion Bush left off, kind of giving Trevathan passing down opportunities to bring some speed to the middle of the field. But Chris, I was doing some research for this game.
Yeah.
That was probably a mistake. Because unfortunately, and you probably know this pretty well, the Bears and Tom Brady do not go together very well.
Mm-mm.
Never in the history of Tom Brady has he faltered against the Bears. But before we focus on Tom Brady, let me just go over some observations here just regarding Thursday Night Football in general. So when you're playing Thursday Night Football, you always want to be the home team. You get more time to prepare generally. You don't waste a day on travel between Sunday and Thursday. Bucks are 3.5 points favored to be
3.5 point favorites in Chicago.
Yeah, right? And that's and usually the home team gets 3, so that's not exactly
they're a touchdown favorite.
Right. And that's to be expected, especially since the Bucks have some injuries on offense.
No, that means the Bucks are basically a 6.5 favorite.
Yes.
If this was on a neutral side. Yeah. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
That sounds right. Yeah. Can you guess? So Tom Brady's played 14 Thursday Night Football games. Can you guess his record on Thursday Night Football?
I'm going to guess 12-2.
You are 100% correct, sir.
Really? Wow.
He's got a 105.6 career passer rating on Thursday Night Football.
Let me guess who he's lost to.
I don't have that, but you can go ahead and
you
pick
don't.
it.
Okay. I feel like he lost to Mahomes on Thursday night. But yeah, it wasn't the Bears, right?
No.
Yeah.
Certainly not. No.
Yeah.
So just for Tampa Bay Bear history, the last time the Bucks won in Chicago was, can you take a venture guess?
The last time the Bucks won in Chicago. No, I cannot.
2008 was the last
Okay,
time.
so it's been some time.
And do you recall, I'm assuming you recall the last time the Bears played the Buccaneers?
Oh, that was the Mitch Trubisky game, wasn't it?
Yes, that was the 6-touchdown Trubisky game where that was like such a weird game too, because I don't think any Bears fans are ever used to being on the positive end of a blowout, you know?
Yeah. No, it was awesome.
But I did read something interesting about how that game in particular for the Bucks franchise actually, like, that was sort of the ending of a lot of things for the Bucks. Like, I think that blowout led to the firing of Kirk Cutter and basically turning things all over to where they are now in 3-1. So as far as that goes, though, Tom Brady and the Bears, not good. So he's played 5 games. He started 5 games against the Bears. He has won every single one of them. He's 5-0. Now that sucks, but again, he's 43. Anything can happen any given Thursday, I guess. That's why they play the game. But the one thing that worries me, and I want to get into this here with the Bears defense against the Buccaneers offense. So the Bears have been in terms of health, been in pretty good shape this year.
Knock on wood when you say it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, but the issue here is that the Bucks have a really good offensive line. They have a young offensive line. I think they are 3rd best as far as QB protection in the NFL. They did last week in week 2. They did not allow a sack. They got a pretty stellar first rounder at right tackle, Tristan Wirfs. And the Bears defensive line is having some issues. I mean, obviously Eddie Goldman being out sucks. But we discussed in I guess not last week, but on Sunday, about the presence or lack thereof of Robert Quinn. And Khalil Mack. So even people have been kind of starting to turn on Khalil Mack. You know, that's bad when things aren't right when people are starting to turn on Khalil Mack, whose jersey I'm wearing tonight. But the one thing that I do think we need to see as far as that goes is as far as a test goes, is 2 main things. There's the red zone defense. The Bears have the 2nd best red zone defense in the NFL. I'm sorry, the Bears have the top red zone defense. The Buccaneers have the 2nd best red zone offense. So that'll be interesting to see how that pans out. But the main thing that concerns me about this game isn't so much that Tom Brady is going against the Bears as 5-0. It's that Tom Brady beats the hell out of Chuck Pagano. Anytime Pagano has gone up against Tom Brady, here's the games that Tom Brady. Is Tom Brady starting against a Chuck Pagano either head coach team or defensive coordinator team. He's put up 34, 42, 45, and 59 points.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not good.
I say, like, I'm like looking up the numbers and stuff on this, and I'm like, God, like, he averages like 40 points a game against Pagano. So maybe
history is all this basically sums up to telling us history is not on our side tonight.
That's absolutely correct.
I have there's a couple things that in my in the Bears in my Bears memory bank that give me nightmares. One is Jerome Bettis steamrolling Brian Urlacher. Another one is, I believe it was a Mel Tucker run defense where Chris Conte did not know the play. Somebody didn't know the play, and Aaron Rodgers throws a game-winning touchdown. And Tom Brady duking Urlacher, I believe, and then Tom Brady for first down, standing up and giving the first down symbol right in Brian Urlacher's face.
Was that a blizzard game?
It was. It was definitely snowing, and I don't know the final score of that game, but I do remember that it did not go well. I'm pretty sure he ran up the score.
No, I'm like 90% sure that was a Patriots blowout in a blizzard.
Oh yeah, in Chicago, I believe too.
Yeah, and that was
So
if you
on our side,
no, right? Certainly not. But there is, in a lot of the Bucs have a lot of positive things going for them right now too. They started off a little bit wonky, but they've been really, really hot. Won 3 in a row. In the last, I think the last 3 games, the last pair of games, he's thrown over 600 yards, and he's thrown 8 touchdowns to 1 interception. So he's hot coming into the game.
Yeah, and they're protecting him well, like you said. I mean, you have Smith, Jens, and Cat. I mean, they got some talent, and then obviously the rookie Orfels. They have some talent up front, and that's a bad recipe for, especially when you have a Pagano defense who is not blitzing. I feel like they've been playing this conservative shell on defense. And Tom Brady will take what the defense has given you and pick us apart underneath all day long. So I think the first step is, you mentioned Robert Quinn, right? How about Robert Quinn? The first step should be he actually plays. What's he playing now? I don't know if you have the snap count from last week, but 30% of our defensive snaps. He's
I think they pretty much try to put him in exclusively on passing downs when possible, but it's not enough. And I think that some people speculate that has to do with the lack of preseason, that his conditioning just isn't where it needs to be. But I feel like that at a certain point you kind of run out of excuses. Now,
he's got to see the field.
He needs to be out there more. Same thing, like it's kind of the defensive version of Cole Kmet, who's for whatever reason just not seen the field for guys like Demetrius Harris, which doesn't make any sense. And I hope that we'll get into the offense later. But as far as defense goes, Robert Quinn, he needs to be like you can forgive Khalil Mack's lack of numbers because he has a presence. He's causing QB hurries, and he's in the mix. He's constantly getting held, even if he's not getting the calls every time. He's going to be. He can give you a gimme holding penalty just by existing because he gets held every single snap.
Yeah, outside of our lone follower right now, Rensselaer Bob or whatever his name is, nobody else should really be trashing Khalil Mack. That's the one guy I think is allowed to do it. Khalil Mack's not the issue. He is, and Akeem Hicks is playing well too. And in all reality, we can even kind of temper or take a step back. The defense allowed 19 points last week.
Right.
You allow 19 points in today's NFL, especially in 2020. Where there's no fans. That's such an advantage for the offense. You have to expect to win, or at least have a very good chance at winning if you hold your opponent to under 19 or under 20 points. And they did that last week. But yeah, Quinn's got to see the field. I'd like to see Pagano dial it up just a little more, especially now that Jalen Johnson is getting more comfortable and playing well. You got Ford on the other side. I would like to see him bring just a little more pressure today and get after Tom Brady, make him feel a little uncomfortable back there.
And this is the second week in a row the Bears have. I keep saying week. It's the second game in a row where the Bears have played a very immobile quarterback who's not going to beat you with his feet. Now, I mean, again, like any quarterback worth his salt, he can move if he needs to. But this isn't exactly young Michael Vick out there. It's going to be this guy's a statue. Tom Brady is not very mobile. So
you got a quarterback last week in Phillip Rivers who is not mobile, and if he's made uncomfortable, he's got a penchant for turning the ball over. And we did everything in our power to make him feel comfortable back there. I don't understand it. And again, I get it. We gave up 19 points. We did our job for the most part, but I think you could have dialed up some. What did we hear about Pagano when we hired him? How creative he is with his blitz scheme.
Yeah, my ass.
Fangio is creative with his coverage schemes. Pagano is supposed to be dialing up these exotic blitzes, and we've seen nothing of it. And it's not the same, but to a certain extent, it reminds me of Mel Tucker coming in and wanting to was afraid to implement his own scheme. He wanted to mirror what Lovie Smith did.
Yeah.
And I pray that Pagano is not, holding back because of the success that we had under Vic Fangio. What does Matt Nagy say? Chuck Pagano, Khalil Mack, Akeem Hicks are not you and dial up some pressure.
I'd be curious to hear from Colts fans and maybe some Ravens fans, and I'm sure they've already chimed in on it, like when they were hired and stuff like that. But I did hear something really interesting about Matt Nagy as far as that's concerned. Because I'm guessing if we talk to some Colts and Ravens fans, they would say that oh no, this isn't new. This is just what Chuck Pagano does. That's why he didn't have work. He didn't have a job for a while. But I did hear something about Matt Nagy in a similar light, and that's people from Kansas City, Chiefs fans. When he left that organization, people weren't high on him because of his offensive prowess or ability to like draw up a playbook. They were really, really high on him as a coaching prospect, as a head coach, as a leader, as a locker room personality, as somebody who could unify and understand and reach young Chicago Bears players and really cultivate a positive locker room and building atmosphere. And to his credit, he's done that. And that may have been kind of the case with Chuck Pagano, as they brought him in more of a character type thing. I mean, it's hard to follow Vic Fangio. I don't know, like he's having some rough times out in Denver right now.
I miss Vic Fangio.
We all do. I mean, because he was, you know, he's one of those coaches to where he doesn't play checkers, he plays chess.
Yeah,
like
he's on another level. Yeah,
his game planning is something else. Yeah. Players revere him, and you know, I think he's one of those guys to where if he was still with the organization in some way or another, that the Bears would be looking at this totally different as far as game planning goes. But I hope that you're right. I hope Pagano kind of does start to flex a little bit. It's again, we're looking at both of these things the same way, offense and defense, because with the defense, like you said, there's talent, there's ability there. How can you as a coach shape this talent or shape your scheme to exploit the talent? How can you not, maybe say this isn't working, I'm going to try this. I don't know why he doesn't change. Same thing with Matt Nagy. If I feel like a lot of people looked at Sunday's game against the Colts as such a massive disappointment, because it's like, okay, you took Trubisky out. The guy can't throw deep. He's making bad decisions. He can't read through a progression. He can't read a defense. Okay, so here's a quarterback he can. Here's a quarterback that supposedly can. And you don't get a touchdown until there's 2 minutes left in the game. So
I'm not feeling good as right now. And the last time I felt like this was opening day last year against the Packers. And I did it to myself. I came into this game with such high hopes and just put series after series on offense, just could not have been more disappointed. The things that Nagy did weeks 1 through 3, it's like he completely threw the window in game 4. And the thing is, like I said last week, our offense weeks 1 through 3, we weren't terrible. We were driving the ball. We had balance. We just weren't finishing drives. Now enter, Nick Foles on Sunday. We weren't moving the chains at all. And there was zero balance. It's like, it was so frustrating to watch. I mean, it's like, because Nagy didn't trust Trubisky, he called run plays that didn't allow Trubisky to option out of it. Now enter Nick, but it worked. The running game was the best we've seen in the last year and a half.
Agreed.
Now Foles comes in and he throws in read options. Foles is keeping the ball when he should be handing it off. He's when he should be keeping it. And our offensive line magically looked significantly worse because of it.
Well, I mean, and it's during that process of trying to evaluate our offensive line, I think that everybody, myself absolutely included, did not understand just how good that Colts defense is. That Colts defense is something else. They're elite. They're the best in the NFL for a reason. They're very, very good. I'm not sold on them. I'm sorry. I'm not sold on them. I think, and I think you're going to see this as the season goes on. You're going to see some significant warts. And I think that defense has benefited through 4 weeks of playing some pretty bad offenses. And they are going to have a game soon, I think, where they just get exploited. But and it should have been last week, especially when Leonard, their best defensive player next to Buckner, it goes out in the second half. How do we not attack the middle with the tight ends? I don't know what, again, these are questions among others that people were asking after the game. The series that really irritates me, and it's like, we've talked about how Mitch Trubisky in year 4 or whatever, he still can't do certain things right with his feet or with his eyes. Matt Nagy has the same bad tendencies as he did the year we hired him. There was a sequence that, against the Colts where Foles was feeling it. I think he had 3 straight completions to get the Bears into the red zone. They burn a timeout. And then they burn a timeout to draw a play up and there was that weird botched handoff to Montgomery, who I don't know if Foles might have done a kill and checked into a different play, and maybe he didn't hear it or didn't know what the play was supposed to be. But it's like, you not only did you kill the momentum that Foles was feeling as he's working down the field, you halted all that with your timeout, and then you drop this play. It's like you got to just kind of let these guys go a little bit, and you think that that's just a thing that a coach can feel when it's like, I'm not going to stop this. There's momentum here. I want to keep this going. The defense they're reacting. They're not being progressive, but instead
he's working too hard to prove that he's like the smartest guy in the room. And that's not the way that it should be. What you mentioned earlier with Kansas City, how they felt about Matt Nagy, we said last week, we love him as a head coach, right? As a motivator of men, right? Yeah. Matt Nagy is good at his job, but as a play caller, oh man, when I was starting to get some faith, last week happens. 3rd and 1. You got one of the best short yardage backs in the NFL. David Montgomery does not go down on first contact. 3rd down and 1 in a key position. He gives the ball to Cordell Patterson. I like Patterson. I think that there is a role in this offense for him, but not on short yardage. Like, unbelievable that he even calls that play.
Yeah.
It's just
that was a very greedy play. Like that's one of those things to where I don't think Pierce was active last week. I think
he wasn't. Yeah.
But it's one of those things to where I don't even care if he was active. He's shown willingness to be creative in that situation. Even Akeem Hicks, either being a lead block. I mean, he's not completely healthy, but like either way, like. What happened to the Matt Nagy that was creative and used linemen in weird ways and was willing to kind of, create an offense where positions didn't necessarily have to be, just because you're a tackle doesn't mean you're going to be a tackle. We may use you as a lead blocker in the backfield, or maybe even as a receiver from time to time. Like that stuff is all gone now for whatever reason. I don't know if he just lost his confidence in it or what.
No, it's gone because he got crushed in the media last year. It was nice when it worked, and Bears fans loved it. But when your team's going 8-8 and it's not working, fans don't want to see that cuteness. And to a certain extent, I think he needed to get reeled in a little, but I think that made him successful. And that was like you said, that was a perfect play. I mean, there's no way Cordell Patterson should be getting the ball in short yardage.
And I mean, from a principle point, I understand. Cordell Patterson is a big guy. He's very, very fast. Eats up field when eats up open field very, very well. But he's not a running back. I mean, you can
way too upright.
You can put him in practice as a running back all you want. You can use him out of the backfield all you want. But when it comes to trying to pick up like 1 or 2 yards, you don't hand the ball off to a gimmick. I mean, if you're coming out of the backfield in a reverse or a jet sweep or something, that's one thing. But like, don't line him up in the backfield and then just hand it off to him straight up the gut. Like that's not like, I just don't. Obviously, it's
especially when you have David Montgomery. I gotta tell you, the more I see Montgomery run the ball, even when I'm impressed. He is very hard to take down. He's always falling forward. He with effort and his ability to break a tackle is kind of what we didn't have with Jordan Howard. Jordan Howard was a big back, fun to watch, but it seemed like he was always getting brought down in contact. Montgomery doesn't do that. I'm sorry. You got him in 3rd and short. Give him the run and play, because the few times that Nagy has done that over the last year and a half, Montgomery gets that extra inch, that extra foot, that extra yard. And I just don't understand why you take the ball out of his hand. So it was a very disappointing game. That is 100% on Nagy, and to take that a step further, Nagy doesn't have Mitch to blame anymore.
No,
this season could be really bad for Matt Nagy, and I don't know what you do when you have a good head coach who is a bad play caller. What do you do? I mean, does Ryan Pace let's say this continues, and I pray it doesn't. Ryan Pace step in and say, we got to get us an offensive coordinator who's going to call plays, or that doesn't even come close to happening.
I don't think that. I feel like there's a lot of very intense reaction to what the Bears do as far as the future goes. Now, it's obviously it's week 4.
And we're 3-1, and we're 3-1, right?
We have a long way to go. And I don't think that even if the Bears, because I mean, I feel like at worst, this team goes 7-9 at worst. Just at a loose projection right now. And even then, I feel like that's you can't just go back to the well and put your faith in the McCaskey family to find another GM and head coach again. I just feel like you've got a good coach, but you got to find a way to either have that coach adapt and grow, or give his play calling duties to somebody else. I mean, that's in many ways how Nagy got the coaching job in the first place, was Andy Reid giving him the play call.
Yeah.
And that opened up a lot of opportunities for him that otherwise wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
But I'm curious to see, because he said two things coming into this game that are very interesting as far as like, it's almost like he's challenging himself for accountability. Cole Kmet only got like 12 snaps, I think, something like that. He
15,
said
15, I think.
15, okay.
Either way, it wasn't enough.
And he said as much. He said, we need to use him more. He needs to be on the field way more. It's like, okay, well, prove it. Like make use of this kid who's an elite talent, supposedly, and has, impressed coaches and everything. Get him out there and show us that he's not Adam Shaheen, please. Show them that we got really exceptional talent. The other thing he said is, and he said it at the post game of the Colts game, was we need to run the ball more. Okay. So, that's you've got another active. You got Artavis Pierce active tonight. You've got David Montgomery. I assume they're going to keep using Cordell Patterson out of the backfield. Run the ball and do it
on first down. There is such a significant difference from a quarterback perspective, looking at 2nd and 6 versus 2nd and 10. You've got to run and you've got to win first down, and that's on both sides of the ball. It is. I think you want to make Brady a little more predictable, and you got to win first down on defense and on offense. You do that, and I think that's a huge driver to success in the game and tonight specifically. So, I don't know. I'm so demoralized after last week. 3 points. I expected so much more than Nick Foles. Now, we're getting comments here in the chat. Insider information here talking about from Philadelphia Eagle fans that Nick Foles never has 2 bad games in a row. So that does give me a little hope, but Brady's on fire right now. And he last week you could tell that team's just coming to. He's starting to get into the zone, and that definitely scares me.
I mean, if you look at Nick Foles' career, he's a great Bears quarterback, because if you look at his career, he's like the 500 quarterback. It was kind of like if you look at Cutler's career in the end, it was just like, holy shit, he's like almost a perfectly mathematical 500 quarterback. Well, Nick Foles is nearly the same.
Yeah.
But again, I feel like you can't do much worse than he did last week. So, I mean, as long as it doesn't get out of hand early and you're still, making it a contest, which I expect the defense to keep the Bears in.
Well, this is a much better offense, though. The Tampa versus the Colts. I mean, Phillip Rivers. Oh my gosh, I'm trying to get past last week. I'm sorry.
He got into the Bears' heads with his weird, very clean trash talking, I guess. But game starts here in about 15 minutes. Again, the game is going to be on Fox, NFL Network, Amazon Prime. Chris and I will be resuming, hopefully doing this live again on pre-games before the next Bears game. What do they take on the Panthers, I think? So we will resume doing the live broadcast hopefully then. But tonight, enjoy the Bears and Buccaneers. Chris, do you have any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, let's go Bears. I have a bad history of being on the wrong side of the Bears, and I'm taking Tampa at -3.5 tonight, which tells me we're going to see a Bears win because I'm a terrible gambler. So,
do we have a score?
No. Yeah, I do. Let's say. Let me think here. We're going to need at least 3 touchdowns and a field goal if we're going to win this game. Okay. So I'm going to say 24-21 Bears.
All right, very bold of you. We're going to Bears win. I don't agree. I think I'm going Tampa 31, Bears 23. I don't want it. I mean, I would be overjoyed. I'd love to be wrong and love for the Bears to just.
I'm with you.
To surprise everybody. I think Bears fans are feeling it too, because if you lose this, you're 3-2. and you're staring down a pretty good Panthers team, and then you're also coming off of two losses in what, 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
So yeah, big game for the Bears, bigger game than most would probably think. But
dial up the pressure, right? We got to force Brady off his spot. We do that, we got a shot. So
That's
we'll
right.
See. It's not the same Brady as it was a couple of years ago. He's turned the ball over. He's shown that he is slowing down a little. I think if we can get after him, I think Deion Bush going down is going to hurt. But I also expect Trevathan to be better than he has in previous games as he's getting his feet under him. So this is going to be a fun game. Under the lights, prime time. We're celebrating a Bears win come tonight, midnight tonight?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, enjoy the game, folks. We'll see you guys next time before Bears-Panthers. Let's go Bears, and visit again, bearsfansonline.com to join in the conversation. We'll see you next time.